Hello everybody, welcome back to our fifth episode of Step by Step Story of a Cake Order. Today we are going to talk about what kind of things we have to do and worry about between two locations. A, ready decorated cake on the table in our kitchen, and the B is cake on the table at the event place. There is also some documenting involved, but it's not much. So let's take off and find a way how to get this cake from A to B without any mishaps. First thing, documenting some information. So taking photograph, of course, the very important thing. So if you make a nice beautiful cake, you don't take a photo, and it is just sort of like a lot of miss in there. So you may need that information for many other purposes in the future. So I'm not consider myself as a kind of a good photographer, but you need to have a little bit of knowledge and sort of understanding what you have to do if you take your photo from your cakes. Now, there is a lot of difference between past and today. 1973, I remember 1973, I had a photo studio. So in that time, I had only deal with the black and white. So we have like special chemicals. We have to sort of like put in the bath like a special solution to get everything developed. It was a sort of such a hassle, black room and dark room and everything. Anyway, so between those days and today, there's a huge difference, like day and night. That time was color photography was available, but I didn't have knowledge to deal with that. Today is anything you can take a photo, millions of it, thousands of it. It doesn't cost anything, so you can just trial and error possibilities. But in between, we have also taken photos just in the film roll and then giving to the developing the photos, and then we take some copies. Most of the time I order 2 or 3 copies each photograph, and it was very costly exercise. So having said that, what kind of camera we have to use? Let's talk about this. Of course, we are not a photo studio. We don't have to have a very professional cameras, but just simple DSLR camera. So digital single lens, reflex cameras. Digital single lens reflex camera, DSLR. Those cameras are good, but if you don't have that, you can still use your smartphone. I think this is also good. Why I'm saying that? Because cameras are not really the top of the list. What's important? Important is your background, and then your understanding of how you're going to take the photo, and also your light. All right. So I have a setup always in my kitchen, in the past, today, always, because I like to take my cake, put on the background nicely, clean, sort of like a plain background, and also kill the corner between the horizontal and then vertical space. All right. So that's why I like to show you this. At the moment, I have this. So I have this, just pulling this string here, turning like that, it comes down. All right. So as you see that, let me go here. You see this background here, like that. So this is light color. So to try to kill the background, I just take this part here, and I put it on the table, like that. So as you see that, there's no line between horizontal and vertical space. So that will make it like a really sort of like gradients of like from light to dark or from dark to light, it doesn't matter. And also very important, if I pull it more down, I have a black or a darker background, so I just have to pull it down all the way down, and that will be also for dark choice. So it is important that to know when you use the light background and dark background. So basically, if you like to have something nice and clean look, maybe just pastel colors cakes, light background is nice. But sometimes when we have a light background and you put the lights, of course, obviously there will be shadow if you have one side light. So you have to kill that shadow from other side light towards the background. So it will reduce, or it will just disappear that. All right. Black background is good for certain things. For example, if you have a kind of like a well sort of detailed centerpiece or something, and you like to show that details of it, and then of course that If you create some shadows on the centerpiece, you will have more details with one side light. So with one side light, then you don't have a problem because the black background doesn't show much of the shadow on the background. So that's the reason it's a good idea to have two different colors or different tones of backgrounds. And also, like, you have to be quite consistent with your presentation of the photos. I guess that you should have a concept of background color, then you can use always the same thing as all your photographs in your albums or in your website. All this look professional. All right. It's also important that to take some notes about production time. So sometimes you have certain pieces, you keep on doing it, and then you have one price. And then if you take a note on those, suddenly you will realize that you are not charging enough because it were taking too much time to do it. So this kind of information, life experience information, that is good to take note and upgrade your pricing system, etc. So there is maybe something else, but for the moment, it's like, for me, is most important is documenting is photography and take some notes about informations. Let's talk about now how we pack the cake if we have to pack. Having enough material to pack the cake, it's important. So that means you have to be really prepare yourself with certain size of boxes in your storeroom or in your specific place. I always order small, medium, large rectangular box, small, medium, large square box. I can create also many other sizes from those boxes. For example, this is a rectangular box in a way that if I put it this way, but if I lift up is a square box. So I can make a tall cake without closing the lids. I can make a small, short 2 times of square cake by just cutting in the right size. And I also put it this way, sideways. I can also pack something large, rectangular, whatsoever. So every box gives you another 2-3 different options to do it, as long as you know you cut it right straight, no problem at all. So let's say, imagine that I have a cake is for 40 centimeter. I'm not talking about at the moment about the Romeo and Juliet cake. I will talk about later on, because we're going to go through everything general, and after that we're going to go through one more time shortly how I would do that if the Romeo and Juliet cake is real scenario. So I will explain this one too. Let's imagine that we have a 40 centimeter cake. So this is 40 centimeter from the folding place 40. I will put another 10 centimeter on top, just for in case that the top centerpiece is a little bit more need space. All right. So over here I will put a little bit sort of like an indication for person line. All right, like that. And I will use something like this, not so flimsy thin ones, but like a little bit more bigger heavy duty box cutter. And let's go over here like this straight, but of course you will damage the tabletop, so you have to turn it like this way. Make sure that you're cutting space in the air, so you can cut like this. All right, and then the blade goes in the sort of emptiness. All right, so having said that, make sure that you're using very sharp one, because if this box cutter is not sharp, it will be very dangerous, because you're forcing to cut. More you put the force on it, you may just injure yourself. All right. Now that's what I would do. I would not cut like that, because maybe it's a bit hairy. All right. So just turn like this, and then I will just do one side first. All right. With the heavy duty tape, go like this, go like this. So when I do that, this is the only gluing place that for the whole thing to lift. So that's why it's not good enough. So I'm just going to go one more time this way, glue this. All right, that's very important. All right. All right. After that, take this box on the table. All right. Where is that line? That indication? Okay, that's why this way is here. So I'm just going to get the box here out of the table here. Place my blade. Go all the way down, straight, cut. One. I know the beginning point here. I go straight again. If you want, you can of course put some line to give you a direction, all right? But when you're cutting so top down, it is quite easy to meet at the same point again on the other side, all right? That's it. So I have about just a 2 centimeter for a baby steak. That's acceptable. This one fix again nicely. That's it, all right? Now, this one will be my box. This will be my lid, all right? Do that again. Don't have to be too fussy about that because it doesn't carry any weight. All right. So this is the lid. That's the box. Now, when we're placing that cake inside, all right. Sometimes the cake is not really coming to the edge. It has to be like it is a bit like a it's like offset. It's not really in the middle. So I like to use those things. This little styrofoam polystyrene blocks. I use them for legs to put underneath the boards. I also use them for secure the board in the right place. So best thing to do is beside the double-sided tape, maybe it's not really strong enough, I will use the hot glue gun and I will just put the hot glue gun on the inside the box and then take about 5 seconds. If it's too hot, it will be melt inside. But if it's just a 5-6 seconds and push it on, it will just stay right on the corner and then stable the cake, it doesn't move around. And also, if you worry about the cake will be tumble inside, so you can put one like this, all right? And then the other one glue on top like that on the board. So depends on how high is the board. If the board is too hard, just adjust that like this. So that is secure that the board doesn't really move around, all right? That's just depends of how you feel that. If it's not strong enough, you can do that, all right? So let's say, imagining that this arrive to the place and then the people putting somewhere in the fridge. I'm going to talk about like securing things later on. So if it has happened, you have to make sure that this box is obviously a cake box. Everybody should understand that. So that's why what we're having here, we have a label. All right. This label, it says that your company logo, your address, your everything, and after that the person's name, and then the purpose of the cake, birthday cake. Where is the location, and also like a nice big yellow marking here, fragile cake. So you can put this in the couple of different sites, all right? At the same time, what I would do is this. So sometime that when we place that lid, it's quite like tedious to take it out and put it back again. So for them, so if somebody wants to show the cake what is inside, etc. So I like to put a cellophane sheet, which is here, and then stick it over here on top, all right? So what does it do? I'll use first the small tape just to secure in the spot, all right? Go on the side. Okay, here one. After that, I'll take also a larger tape. This one. I glue that again one more time, nice and strong. And also airtight, some sort of like a more security. They may just put this cake in the fridge for a while, so you're protecting from the humidity at the same time, all right? It depends of what is inside, and then the location and how long going to stay without presenting the cake. So that is also like a decision that you should instruct to the people that who are receiving the cake, all right? That's happen always. Okay, now imagine the cake is inside, all right? And now we put the lid on it. This lid on it. just the squeezing over here on the corners a little bit. All right. Push it down. Okay, nice and strong. All right. And what do you see here? There's nothing. You don't know there's a cake inside. There's a label, but maybe you don't have time to read it. So what do you want to do here? You open the window. Like that. And you take another cellophane sheet like this and glue it there. Also make it nice and airtight, so don't keep anything like open on the side, so there's no moisture goes inside if it's put somewhere moisture. Okay, this one there, that's done. So we have a box which, if you remove the lid, it's still protected because of this cellophane sheet on top, and people can see what's inside. All right, number one. Number two, you have these labels on the side, all right, here. And then you have also a window that people can see what's inside. When you're placing somewhere, which is the office or something, it has to be like, make sure that the position is correct, that people can see it, all right? So that's how I pack the cake, if I have to pack the cake. So let me tell you about now, if I don't have to pack the cake, when I still have to deliver, what I like to do. So the box is like that. After finishing, you put the label here, or maybe one on the side, and there's a window here. I believe that these corrugated cardboard boxes is more reliable than specific white cake boxes. So I believe that they are a bit flimsy, and then if the weight is inside, it's not really stable underneath. So if you like to have more precautions, you can also put one more of this one, the non-slipper mat, inside your vehicle, underneath, so it doesn't move around much. All right. And also a good thing about that, if you have, for example, not enough space in your vehicle and you want to put another thing on top, that's strong enough to hold another box, but you have to really put one more of this one on top to place the another box if it's not too big. All right, so that will be no problem at all to carry. It's not going to be damaged what's inside. You can put some more weight on it, no problem. Now, if you don't have to put in a box, if you don't want to put in a box, or if you don't need to put in a box, you have to still take some precautions that the cake will be securely arrive where they have to go. So I have a couple of mess-ups that we already lost few cakes in the past. So that's why I like to think about what can I do that does not happen again, and I come up with this sort of like handmade preparations, which I call a cake holder. All right. So there is a. Let me explain you first that what is the weight point means. Let's say you have a cake about this size, but underneath you have legs. Is here, there, there, and there. Imagine it's a larger board. All right. So actually the look of the cake board is this size, but actually your security is about this size, because that's where touching to the board, and that is not counted because the cake is not really holding the whole surface down, only touching where the legs are. All right, so that's why I like to give you first of all a little bit understanding about. I'm sure most of you know about that, but just in case that if somebody really know about a little bit more about that. So let's say you have a cake like this. All right, just an example. All right, cake like that. Maybe some decorations on the side or whatever. All right. Just an example. And then there is a board underneath. Right, like that. And this is your tabletop. All right, tabletop. Every single object, all right, has one invisible weight point. So let's say this weight point around here. That weight point means if you are able to hang this object, this whole cake, from that point possible, you can turn any direction, it will stay in the same direction when you make it. So you're not going to go back to the other side. So that is the weight point. So if weight point, if the cake standing like this, if the weight point fall straight line, so the bird view straight down, if it's inside this here, it's not going to tumble. All right. So that means imagine that this is stable, and I'm going to show you like this. All right. So that is here is not tumbling. When it go like this, it's not tumbling. When it goes like this, it will be fall off. All right. So that means if you have a leg here and here, all right, and then this will be already tumbling around this point. I mean, this is like quite extreme what is happening, but sometimes what's happening is the cake is very heavy on the top and very light at the bottom. So that means this point may go up here. All right. So that means there will be more chance with a smaller angle the cake may tumble. So for example, it's also happened to me because I'm talking about the real experience. We have a nice, large, tall cake, and then we place it in the car very securely, nicely, and it looks very secure. And then when the car going slightly downwards, like a slightly hill down, and then you have some sort of situation you have to brake, and then it will be pushed like this, and then the cake is tumbled, and we had to sort of have to do the whole cake again. So there's all those methods which happen that to create that to come to this direction. All right, how to do that? So this is just slits, and then those devices can be purchased from the hardware store for a few dollars. So that goes in and out, all right, like this, and larger and smaller. Let's say you have a cake like this, and this cake has legs underneath, and then this is like a very sort of like not secure, and this one legs all the way outside here, at the end of the edge here. So that is actually, if you fix that board to that board, your board, cake board, becomes this size, so much more secure. All right. So this is flimsy, of course, it's moving around, but I will still use that non-slip mats underneath to make it secure. So all what you have to do, release that, go here, and then tighten up. I mean, you have always space on the side, isn't it, when you have a cake? All right, go like this, tighten up, go like this, tighten up, like that, tighten up. So that's it. So that will be very nice and secure. You can use it a lot till this size, larger boards. But if you have a large board anyway, you don't need that. So this is for especially that small board, but tall cake. All right. So this is how I do. Underneath it looks like this also. See, look like this. You can do it yourself, no problem. All right. Securing lifter, holder, drawing the weight point. I did that already. So front arrows. There's the front arrows here. I have these little stickers, which is called front. So I can use these labels for two purposes. One of them is when you finish the cake, decorate cake, there's always one side is the front of the cake. But for some people, it may not be understandable where is the side, where is the front of the cake. So you can put one of this sticker on the front of the cake, and then people will understand and instruct them to remove when you place the cake on the table, you can remove yourself. But if you have to like leave it there, and then maybe the cake is not on table, maybe somewhere else, they have to bring back again. So you leave that sticker there so they understand where is the front of the cake. Same thing goes for the box also. You can put also this front label somewhere in the box, maybe this direction, because there's always, depends of the cake shape, best way to direct to the direction, to the driving direction. So it may happen that the cake is a little bit more stable this way, but not stable this way. So you have to put the cake like this way. So you have to put the arrow on that side, the cake travel in that direction, in that position. So that is for that one, front label. All right. So if the cake has to go to the travel a little bit longer, and then you need to sort of like cool down the cake, so you may put some ice bottles inside. I have another video in YouTube, so how to create instant fridge for a cake delivery. Please watch this video for that. All right. Now what we have to do is we have to talk about two different scenarios. One is cake is delivered by yourself, Another thing is the cake will be picked up by your customer or your friend, so they have to deliver the cake or transport the cake themselves. There's different things to worry about. In my topics list, pickup issues first, delivery issues after, but I like to talk about delivery issues first and then pickup issues after. All right. First of all, when you deliver a cake, you need to know where to go. So at the same time, you are under pressure because you are delivering or you are transporting something which doesn't have a seat belt. All right, it's just standing on the kind of flat surface. All right, that's why it gives you a little bit of like a kind of like a, how you call, like anxiety, like am I doing right, or is somebody coming behind? Is it like am I sort of like hindering the traffic, that I'm going too slow, or etc. So those things are really kind of within your sort of like a well-being at that time. It's not going to be 100%. You don't feel relaxed. All right. So in order to reduce all those sort of like interesting feelings what you have to do some precautions. First of all, study the map. So before you take off, you take the map open and then study where you go. You deliver one cake or two cake or three cake whatsoever, you have to still study the map and then also incorporate with the GPS preparations. So before you get in the car, you do all those things ready. All right. You have a label behind the car, cake on board. So that is very important because it will make you a bit more relaxed, because someone behind you, instead of horning and getting angry at you, he will know that you have to go slow. All right, that's very important. And then safety precautions is absorption and outer legs. So if you study where you go, you may also know that there is some roads that is not really straight, or it may be some bumpy road. So in order to get this one also more secure, you have to make some like a cushioning kind of like a preparation for your cake. So how you do that? I have a big piece of sponge. It's actually a hard sponge, but when you have a cake on top and then just go in like this, that sponge it's actually reduce the knock. All right, so that will actually save a couple of decorations inside the cake. Maybe just doesn't drop down. All right, so that's why even that kind of like a blanket or like a sort of like a blanket, but a couple of times folded and then put underneath the cake, it will also reduce the knock. So if the cake is just wobbling a little bit left and right, it's okay, but as long as it doesn't have like a knocking kind of impact. All right. So make sure that your telephone charger is with you and you can connect to your battery power of the car. So that will make sure that if something happens, you can get in touch with your office again. All right. Okay. Most important thing when you're delivering cake. Hold on. Before the most important thing, I like to just go back to that couple of deliveries at the same time, so multiple deliveries. I have here a tag which is like actually a slip for deliveries. There's a queue number here. When you study your map, you can just put maybe 3 tags together, 3 slip together, and you can queue up that I will go this place 1, the second one is here, and third one is here. So you can just flip this one through and then find out the right sort of direction. If you ask the GPS, it may give you the wrong kind of queue, because GPS doesn't know what time is this event starting, what time is the other event starting. So you have to decide that and put them in the right order. These slips are good. So if you have to, for example, prepare your instructions to your delivery person, your driver, you can also prepare that, write down the map number so he can study, and then you can also write over here for the like delivery time, pickup notes, etc. So that's enough. It's enough to have something like this in a sort of in a board, just like attached together. So you know the sort of like queue of what you deliver when you deliver. All right. After again something happened, broken on all those thousands of deliveries what we did in the past. So I create a cake first aid box. Cake first aid box. It's like a cake fixing box or whatever. All right. If something happened on the road, you may have some little bit of chocolate in there. A bit of icing mix, but in powder form. You have a separate water, so you have like egg white powder, sugar, and a bit of like citric acid inside in powder form. Shake it into the little jar. Add a bit of water, mixing with a spoon. You can create the instant royal icing, or you can have a bit of pastillage already there, and then few tools like I don't know, maybe just even a plier or something few tools that it help you on the way or when you arrive to the place, and piping cones, etc. This may be a lot more than what I write over here, 5 items. So even that, I always say this, like, if you fall in the water in the middle of ocean, you will grab the snake to save you, all right? So I tell you something, I will have also hot glue gun in my box. How I do that, what I do that, I don't know, but maybe I may just have that snake to hold, not to drown, okay? So these are the main things that I will worry about if I deliver one or multiple cakes. So let's talk about now pickup issues. All right, so you have a situation that you have to get ready for someone pick up the cake, all right? First of all, don't wait that someone just walk in the door and then everything will be nice in order and then nothing will happen. You have to warn them, call them before they arrive, all right? So ask them what kind of car they are coming with it, and then you tell them the size of the, even that one day before is a matter, you tell them the cake size, the height of the cake size. So if they not have maybe the right car, but they will just borrow from a friend or ask friend to pick up the cake in the right size of the entry of the door or whatsoever, all right? So as soon as they are there, you have to tell them, you leave this place, you are responsible with this well-being of the cake, because I have kindly remind you before that I should deliver the cake, that particular cake. So it depends on, if it's a small cake, it's okay, but if there's a cake that which is really question mark and they want to save just a couple of dollars and then they want to pick up themselves and they don't want to pay that extra amount for delivery, but that's risking the cake, you have to warn them that I should deliver this cake. You have to tell them, all right? So ask about the car, which kind of car they will come, and also tell them that they have to prepare their condition before they arrive. And road selection. When they are there, you ask them which roads they go. It may happen that if they choose about 10 minutes longer direction course, it may be more secure for the cake. For them, it doesn't matter, but for the cake, to choose that road is better than the other road. It may be also an issue to talk about it, all right? So when you putting the cake in their responsibility, I would suggest that you take the responsibility, bring the cake to the car and placing in the right place in the car. Sometimes there's a nice and flat space behind the car, but there's a nice seat which is more cushiony, you know, it's not really hard surface that will be bumpy. Sometimes it's like, if the cake is the right size, putting on the seat in the box with the cake seat lifters, you know, cake lifters. I have a video in the past that I make like triangular cut cutboards. I put inside on top of the seat to make the level, and also back between seat and the cake, also fill up that triangle area. The cake is nicely balanced, and then it will be much better. Maybe put this location other than the behind the car, at the boot of the car. All right. So and of course it will be very nice gesture if you prepare some sort of just a A4 size paper, cake on board. So if you take this one, just a 1 cent cost of a piece of paper, you stick in their back window, they will say, what a professional service. So that little paper, it may make them to feel like coming back for a next order. So that is the things that I would like to remind you or warn you that you have to look after those issues when somebody pick up the cake. Last few things I'd like to talk to you about in this episode. When you arrive to event location and you hand over the cake to the next person who will be the responsible. So there's a couple of things that you have to worry about it. First of all, I recommend you to throughout the time you're arriving different places, and then try to know those people and take the note, their names and telephone numbers, because when you're talking with your customers and then they tell you, I'm going to have my wedding in that location, and you can say, oh yeah, I know the Natalie, I know the John, and so that makes them feel that they are in the right place because you know what you're doing and you know the location. All right. So talk to a person. When you arrive there, talk to a person who will cut the cake, or in charge person that let let the person know who is going to cut the cake. All right. So that is a lots of information has to be passed over. So take your time and then explain the cake. How many tiers and what kind of flavors inside, and then how they have to cut the cake, what's the portion size, etc. So everything what is written in here, condition of order, but this is given to people. Sometimes you don't have to deliver the cake, and sometimes you give this one to your customers, you take another copy, and when you arrive and talk to the person who is in charge or cutting the cake, give them this information. How to cut the cake. For example, they have to prepare 2 knives, not 1 knife, with hot water. So dip one, cut some portions, and put the knife back, put another one. I mean, they may know all those things, but they may happen that someone just apprentice is going to do that. So you have to just make sure that you're helping them to give the right direction. And then, for example, I have seen people cutting the cake portion by portion from the actual cake, actual wedding cake. It's not the right way, because you have a chopping board in front of you, you have knives prepared, and you cut the one big piece from the cake, take it out of the cake, putting it on the chopping board, and then portion it on the chopping board. It's much more cleaner, much more nicer. You don't create a big mess. All right. So all those issues are really important to talk to the person. And there's also non-edible parts of the cake is something to talk about. You can say there's a rod here, there's a skewer here. Remove that, do that, etc. For example, there is flowers that maybe just there's some wires involved. Do not serve this part. It's written here in the list. Don't serve these parts. All right, has to go through, and tell them the portion size. So you have the samples with you. You already given to the customer, but you take another one with you because this is cost nothing. You should have tens of it in the site. All right, and then take this one, give it to the person. That's the portion size. If you cut that size, you will get so many portions from this cake. It will also make them feel good about your service. All right. So you go to the room when you arrive, before you're doing all those things, and then you just look around and then assess the situation, judge the situation. The room is not ready yet. Everybody is walking, and some people doing tables, some people hanging some decorations around, and then you ask the person, where's the table for wedding cake? There. I mean, there's not a skirting around done yet. It's not properly prepared yet. It may happen that you have to put the cake somewhere else. So you have to go to the place where they placed the cake and assess that room also. Is it cold enough, or is the air condition has to be on? You have to just decide and take responsibility before just put the cake on the table and leave. All right. So there are so many things that, as I said, you have to worry about. Also, make sure that you have a couple of things always with you in your car. You have some table cards. You know what table cards is? It's a very important marketing point. When you're taking the order from people, you can ask their permission to let you to put small little information card. Maybe that's the half size of the name card, and put on without disturbing other decorations on the table. It may be just the white little papers. All right, put on the table. It's written there. The cake you see in this event made by this company. All right, telephone number or email address underneath. You may get, because every table has friends, and then it may happen to be that the next bride, you know, this will be a very good point, and then they like the cake, but they will just forget to ask to the friend that where did you get the cake. So they know it already from this paper and a couple of papers in one lot, and just put them on the table without taking the decorations disturbed on taking in consideration. All right. Some brochures take with you, and then talk to the manager that every event place has got like some sort of table on the side that people putting brochures. Don't miss that point. Also, you put your brochures over there, and everything already spoken. I think we didn't miss anything, and maybe something, but just if you think about it, you will find that, and then give some importance on that points of what I miss. All right. So let's talk about this, as I promised you that I'm going to also talk about that particular cake, Romeo and Juliet, how I would deliver if it's a real case. All right. So this cake has real cake here. It's heavy. That's dummy cake here, light. Another real cake here, but not as heavy as this one, because this is a mud cake. This is a red velvet cake. Red velvet cake slightly lighter than the mud cake. And and then here is the fruitcake, is also a little bit heavier. So I'm guessing that if the cake is like this is finished, weight points will be here, somewhere here. It's not going to be tumble. Only thing what I have to do, I have to put this cake in the really secure flat place, and then make sure that is not slipping around. So that is already good enough. And also that polystyrene legs, it gives also a kind of like a absorption of the knocks, absorption of the impacts. Also, that is also very good to have that those little legs as a kind of, this is like a bit spongy. It will help a lot. Well, I would really be careful that all those decorations will be nicely attached together, and then there's one piece. So we had before a truck which is about 80 centimeter door space, which is more than enough to put this in without any problem. So let's say I have a private car which is 70 centimeter door space at the back. So I may just think about to remove that part. So this part, so if I just put over here, let's say here, till here is about, you have still 10 centimeter to go in, but I'm worried about this branch here. I will put only this roof, including that little branch here. So if this one goes like this, and then finish it like that, another branch here, I can just place the roof and I will solve my problem. In your case, if you don't have a car, which is the 70 centimeter or 80 centimeter distance in the door, you may have like a van or something, it will be no problem at all. But if you have a private car that you have to deliver and then you don't have space, what I would think about till here. All right, so that means you have to worry about this cake, 2-piece. All right. This is this construction, right? So I wouldn't worry about that part, that construction, all avoid. And then you make this, that one more nut here, and that's your tabletop, all right, tabletop. And then actually this one should be maybe double, or maybe just another board underneath here, this part here. So once you arrive it, and then this part here, maybe just goes about 15 centimeter with of course the straws that it's protect the cake from touching to the metal. So you have an extra board underneath with a hole. When you arrive that, this is separately delivered, and then just right there and place it on, and that will be finished. And of course that all those branches is, this one goes all the way here, but second one starting from here, making also together all the decorations in two parts. One is in the lower part, one is in the upper part. When you put together, it looks like a sort of like a seamless connection there. All right, so that's what I would do. What else? Everything else is actually secure. All those lamp and the man, everything is secure. And then the girl belongs to that part, so it comes together. So that will be no problem at all. Everything else what we've spoken, the rest of the issues like a condition of order or delivery issues, what you talk with the people, is valid for exactly for this cake also. There will be no problem. So this is the end of the 5th episode, and the cake is delivered. Imagine that is nice, safe and secure. So now we are on the way back to our place, our office or our kitchen. Now is the question is, shall we just forget about this cake and move forward and jump on the next order, or do a few more activities in the office and then make use of this wonderful experience? And then let's talk about those issues on the next final episode about this story. So thanks for watching. God bless you all. Until to my next final episode. Bye for now.